And I had no idea what the film was about. I had only heard, hey man, Equilibrium has a really rad fight scene. And I always, thought, well, a fight scene isn't a movie make. I mean, The Matrix has great fight scenes, but that's built on some interesting philosophy. It also has, like, game-changing fight scenes. It's not just good fight scenes, it's fight scenes that changed everything about fight scenes, but... Hello and welcome to Blockbuster Reviews. If you haven't seen it before, it is where I try to review a film while playing a single game of chill marathon. That is until the blocks reach the top or I get to 150 lines. There's a tentative rule of no spoilers until line 50. I usually keep to that rule fairly well, but you never know when you start talking about the movies. Sometimes a thought takes you somewhere, especially when you're trying to play Tetris. So Equilibrium, oh my gosh, I messed up the word, kind of. Equilibrium is a film from 2002 that I had not seen for some reason until just recently. Starring one of the Batmans, Christian Bale, Taye Diggs, which I did not know, which was kind of a fun surprise. And I had no idea what the film was about. I had only heard, hey man, Equilibrium has a really rad fight scene. And I always, thought, well, a fight scene isn't a movie make. I mean, The Matrix has great fight scenes, but that's built on some interesting philosophy. It also has, like, game-changing fight scenes. It's not just good fight scenes, it's fight scenes that changed everything about fight scenes. But Equilibrium, I've heard only that about it. What I did not know, and that is the plot of the film, it is about a society post-World War III that has decided, at least one of the societies, we only cover one, we don't know about the entire world, but we do know about this one world that I wish I remembered the name of, but the name was kind of stupid, so I don't remember it. It's a very 1984-esque, utopian city, a lot of grays and whatnot, but that's because this society has outlawed feelings. Yes, feelings, the things that are kind of impossible to completely get rid of. You can master your feelings in a way of controlling them and make sure you respond to stimuli, but I never thought of the idea of getting rid of them entirely was even a possible thing, but they created this wonder drug in this society, and I wish I remembered the names, but once again, I did not. And I think that's the inherent problem of Equilibrium. I was told by my buddy Zach, who has been on the stream a couple times. He said it's forgettable, and it is, because as I sit here, I've only been away from the film for a couple hours, and I do not remember most of the characters' names. I remember the story as a whole, but no one really jumped out at me, but that's probably because personalities were diminished, because that's the point of this society. There are no personalities. They exist to only uphold the cause, which is a society without feelings. And it is regulated by this special police force that they call clerics for some reason, which I thought was a little too religious. I figured they would have outlawed religion and religious stuff too, if they're outlawing things that give feelings. But these clerics go from area to area to make sure that there is no, basically thought crime, but they call it some type of crime, but the crime of feeling. And they also go around burning things that would cause feelings. Art, poetry is art, but things that would convey and elicit emotions are not allowed in the city. I'm already at 50. Well, I'm at line 50, I might as well tell you. Oh my gosh, how did I forget his name? Boromir, is it Sean Bean? Oh, I'm gonna feel so bad if I fuck that up. I know it's Bean. I know his last name's Bean, and he's famous for dying in everything he's in. And guess what? He dies in this movie. He dies very early. It's not that much of a spoiler. He dies as the a catalyst for, well, one of the catalysts for Christian Bale's character, who has given his entire life to the cause of ridding the world of things that convey feeling to prevent more war, to prevent more hatred and jealousies. After his partner dies for stealing he stole a book of poetry, and Christian Bale's character, I think his last name's Preston, he kind of caught on to the idea that he wasn't actually going to return that to evidence, and then shot him in a church when he was reading it. And the film's philosophical heart is, what is the purpose of life if you don't feel? What is the purpose of life without love, without truly living? And Christian Bale's character is met with that when he accidentally breaks one of his vials of this wonder drug that prevents people from feeling, and he doesn't get it replaced due to a shortage, I believe, in a sector or some, science fiction humbo-jumbo. Humbo-jumbo, not a word. Mumbo-jumbo would be appropriate, but not humbo-jumbo? Whatever I said, not a thing. He goes through a journey of self-discovery through art, where as he raids, because it's his job to weed out people who have art, who are trying to feel things, and he experiences things like music for the first time. He experiences probably one of the most, heart-wrenching scenes, something that immediately made sure it would never be recommended to animal lovers by me. There's a part where they come across just a huge thing of dogs, just a lot of dogs, and they all ask each other in an unfeeling way, why do they keep these animals? And then they just start murdering the dogs. They don't show it because even the filmmaker, they don't show a whole lot of gore at all, even though there's insane action in it because of, what do they call it? They called it gun kata, where it's just karate with guns. I thought it would be way cooler. They regulated it to 3 scenes. I thought it would be like The Matrix, where fucking from beginning to end it was going to be all types of crazy gunplay, and it wasn't. It was a little more philosophical jargonism. That was stupid. I don't know, I think I repeated that from something. I'm really focused on not losing this game, because I've gone on a rash of losing Tetris games recently, and this isn't even that hard, so I should be able to pay attention and muscle through, and also talk about equilibrium, and here we go. So, the film, I think, spends too much time pretending like it's going to be a science fiction loved for the ages, and it spends too much time doing that when it should spend more time using those fight choreographers to come up with bitchin'-ass fights with Christian Bale and guns, because when those fights happen, I'm like, holy shit, if you added more dudes and more time, this whole movie would be something that we talk about forever, but instead it's the movie we go, oh, The Matrix and, that one equilibrium thing. It's not a bad movie. I do think that it deserves a one watch, but, you kind of... I've told you the basic plot. It goes from there to the guy in charge trusts... wow, fuck me. This is bad. This is a bad showing. The guy in charge trusts Christian Bale's character with finding the resistance, the underground, because obviously you have a... Oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose another game, aren't I? Fuck me. Again. Can't do it. Can't do it these days. I used to be able to talk about movies and play Tetris. Can't now. And I have to stop. Give it one watch. It's on Netflix as of recording. Don't know if it's on Netflix as of this coming out. Equilibrium. Give it a shot.